Well, I would say not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse, but that would kind of be a lie. Despite the fact that I'm walking around on New Year's Day, there are a lot more people around the streets than I expected. More cars, more people taking the transit, so it's not like there's no signs of life whatsoever. Anyways, welcome to another edition of the Wananyuki Cheese Cafe. So, despite the fact that it is New Year's Day, like I had mentioned, I didn't do any crazy celebrating, so I thought I've got some energy and extra day off. Felt like doing some recording while I'm out and about, despite the fact that it's probably going to be very few businesses that are open, but why not? Got to do what I do to enjoy myself and ring in the new year the best way that I know how. I did see there's a couple of coffee shops that are going to be open, so kind of hoping I can hit that up. So we'll see where we get there. But before we do, here's one suggestion I can give you. Hit that subscribe button below and put your notification bell on. That way, if there's a new video up, you'll get a pop-up that's ready for viewing. Oh, and give me a thumbs up while you're at it too. So, over the last few years, I mostly would have been spending New Year's with some friends for some house parties, getting together for celebrations, and etc. And depending on how late they finished, New Year's Day would be me waking up at their place because I kind of crashed, because it was kind of late and had no way to get home, and then spending the day getting back to my place. But this is the first time in a little while that I don't have really any New Year's celebrations to do, so that's kind of why I'm out here. Oh, interesting bit of trivia. You might know about Saint-Hubert rotisseries around Quebec, but what I'm actually looking at in back of me is the original location. So Saint-Hubert Chicken on Saint-Hubert Street makes kind of sense. So it means to this day, I want to say it was like the 1950s or 60s, that's when the roasters had opened. So, to the surprise of nobody, I'm back on Beaubien Street East. I've covered this a lot on the channel, and I'm already aware that I show it off a lot, but what can I say? It's a street I kind of knew from when I was younger, but I definitely learned to appreciate it more because I was able to see a new side of it. You know, there's actually a lot more people out here than expected, but I thought it would have been a little bit more quiet, because I feel like that one of the quieter days that I had was, there was this time in 2021, no, not 2021, 2022, when I was doing a walk along Saint Laurent Boulevard. It was almost minus 35 degrees with a wind chill, and this was back during the part of the pandemic when a lot of businesses were closed on Sundays except for restaurants, food stuff, coffee shops, etc. for takeout. So yeah, it was pretty dead around then. Yeah, I don't know, I was probably not in the right frame of mind because I was recording this stuff really cold. If you want to see that again, I'll put a card in the top right corner for you to watch that. Actually, hard to believe it's almost been 2 years since I recorded that video. Time really flies. Then again, 2023 had flew so quick that I didn't even see it pass by. Of course, people are probably watching this and wondering, how do I remember exactly when I recorded some episodes or when things took place? Well, for one thing, I've got a pretty good memory apparently, so that's one of the factors. But this is something I kind of touched on a while back, where I felt like that when I was recording some of my videos and actually looking back at some of the past ones, I was able to revisit it, reorganize it, and realize, wow, in some ways I kind of created myself a video diary of all my wanders and my travels, because I look at some of them and I could think back, yep, I think this was taking place at this time of year, so I know exactly what was going on in my life, what kind of headspace I might have been in, and etc. So it's almost like I've documented the last couple of years of my life with this. Funny how that works. But it makes me think back that I've visited a lot of great spots around here and did a lot of exploring. You know, it's like people talk about New Year's resolutions or things that you're grateful for or what you accomplished. It could be a big accomplishment, but you know what? Sometimes the little things in life that make a big difference, like the little pleasures. You look back at how many areas I visited and what I've done over the channel, that's something to be proud of. just what the doctor ordered. I'm going to admit, this is actually the first time I've had an Americano in a glass, but had it given to me with a paper sleeve. So I guess that's one way of being creative with that. Anyways, I did realize I had to warm up a little bit and found that there was this cafe, Café Chiado number 28, that I passed by countless times and saw it was actually open, and I figured, why not? Let's give it a little bit of a shot. I like the vibe. I especially like the bicycle that's hanging on the ceiling right in back of me, and I thought, this is kind of neat. Plus, given the fact it is kind of cold, I thought I'd stop off here because I might need to use a washroom in case of an emergency, but that's like, something that we don't need to talk about. So once again, this is another nice cafe that I've discovered along Beaubien Street East, a street that I'm really starting to enjoy a lot as I'm wandering around Montreal. Now, I probably went through part of this story for a little bit, but I think it bears repeating once again. Beaubien Street East, if you're to ask me when I was growing up what I remember about it, it would definitely be closer to Saint Michel, just a little bit after Papineau or Delorme, and obviously the reason is because that's around where the Ukrainian community in Montreal is mostly located, and my grandmother was living around there at the time. So we used to pay a lot of visits, hung out there, did a lot of visits to Jatinsky's Deli, and thought it was kind of nice. But as far as going on the left side of Beaubien, I know that I've visited around there, except I was most likely taking the bus to the subway station back then. If I did any walks along the way, I probably wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. And then there was a little while during the pandemic that I was not coming into Montreal whatsoever. From March 2020, I would say up until summer of 2021, I don't believe I was doing any trips except for maybe 2 visits to see some friends. And obviously, I was mostly sticking around home. As you can remember by the videos that I recorded from September 2020 up to 2021, a lot of them were just taking place in my backyard, my kitchen, while I was doing cooking recipes and sometimes projects around the house. But it was around like end of July, beginning of August 2021 that I was getting a bit more comfortable and decided, let's get back into Montreal and explore once again. And I remember that mid-August, hang on, much better. You can kind of tell that it's cold because there seems to be some fog on my camera lens. But mid-August 2021 is when I did my episode on Rosemont, when I was trying to visit my grandmother's old area. If you want to see that, you can click on the link on the top right corner to watch it again. But essentially, that was one of the first times I really started to walk along Beaubien East from the subway up to my old neighborhood. So it gave me a chance to look around, pay closer attention to my surroundings, and just explore it as a pedestrian. And since then, I've come along the street countless times, found there's a lot of nice cafes, good bars, some restaurants also, and it's got to give me plenty of revisit value, or I guess, reason to always come back. It's especially for the cafes, because once again, my neighborhood, there are some small cafes here and there, but the majority of them are all going to be Starbucks, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, if you could call that a coffee shop and not the junk food parlor. But all of them over here are nice. Some of them they roast their own beans, and they all have their nice vibe. And you aren't going to find a shortage around them because there's like maybe a dozen of them in the block. Thanks, Adri, but you gotta know where I'm going with it. Okay, I feel well energized right now and kind of surprised because I realized I wanted to make a poke bowl tonight and didn't really have any cucumber, and lo and behold, there was a random grocery store that was open on January 1st. Hard to believe. There's some, because the majority of the stores are not going to be opened at all. This one, I really don't know what they're doing, but hey, I benefited from it because I was able to get some cucumber at a discount. So I'm going to keep walking along Beaubien. I feel like I have time for one more coffee because, I want to stick around, maybe show off one more place, and we'll see what we do. The corner of Papineau and Beaubien, still a lot of furniture stores over there, because I do remember what my mom had told me is that they came around here a lot to buy furniture, even when they moved on to the South Shore. Whether it's because I had some good deals over there or suggestions, I have no idea, but yeah, some traditions just never change. But I'm walking around and I decided that I do have room for one more coffee in me. Probably just going to do a smaller one just to warm up a bit more, and then, well, let's see. I've shown this one off before in maybe a short. I just figured let's do a little sit down and caffeinate again inside. So rather than doing another Americano, I decided I'm going to go for something a bit smaller. Shot of espresso, as always, but I did it as what's called an allongé. I kind of dig the little coffee cup that I'm using right now. And I probably talked about this many times, but if you're wondering what an allongé is, it's basically saying that it's a tall coffee. So the way it works with espressos is that you can order a shot of espresso or 2 shots of espressos, and you can ask for it either as a tall or a short. So a short would be like, 1 shot of espresso, 1 ounce. And an allongé, it would be 1 shot of espresso, but done as 1.5 ounces of water, maybe 2 depending on your preferences. So it's kind of a way to dilute it a little bit. If you want to take your time or you don't want it to be too strong, that's kind of how it works. So the spot that I'm at right now is Café L'Étincelle. L'Étincelle. I had to look up the sign for a second. And it's one I've shown a few times. Passed by here before, like the decor, like the vibe, and it's actually on the corner of Beaubien and Marquette. Marquette, I do have a point of reference for that, and it's very close to the Marquette Park, or I keep forgetting the name of the school, but that's where we went to school for Ukrainian school on Saturdays when I was a kid, and that park was very close to that. So that I talked about a few times before, so if you do want to see that, I'll put a card in the top right corner for you, and you can look up my second Rosemont video that I did back in December 2021. Oh yes, that was on Boxing Day. It's also around when the pandemic was still in somewhat full force, and that was like kind of fun thing to do. Good coffee. So in addition to seeing all the vibe of the small cafes around here, something else I kind of like is a lot of these are like micro roasters where they kind of roast their own beans, and especially what they use is the third wave type of coffee. Now these guys, they don't make their own. They seem like they supplied from a Cafe Barista, but it's also the same idea. Now, if you're going to be looking up the, hang on a second, there. Yep, cold weather and warmth. It's going to give me some condensation for quite a bit. Anyways, if you're going to be looking up what the heck is third wave coffee, here's the thing to remember is that a lot of coffee that you find in your stores are going to be like Arabica, so like Arabic roast, Italian roast. So you're going to have your bold, your medium, your light roast, like those are your typical ones. So what the third wave coffee roasters do is that they get it from independent farms, smaller ones, and they're not going to roast it as much. So it's going to be a bit more of a lighter roast, and sometimes depending on the type of beans that you have, they will have a different flavor. Like sometimes with the spice, like the only spicy coffee I can think of offhand is Vietnamese coffee. But a lot of them are going to have a very tart flavor. Like you're talking cherry, strawberry, maybe peach. Sometimes a taste of molasses or brown sugar or cocoa. It all depends on what type of bean you're using. Because my understanding is that I learned this when I was doing a chocolate taste test around 2020. Some of those cocoa beans, the taste is going to depend on where they're growing from. So if it has a tart plum flavor, that's the natural taste of the bean. So it feels like it's the closest thing you could get with the coffee. Like that would also be a natural taste. And the good thing too is that a lot of these third wave coffee developers are also fair trade roasters. So what that means is that the thing with coffee roasters is, from what I heard, a lot of the farms aren't paid as much for the beans. Fair trade makes sure they're compensated well for their work. So You might pay a little bit more, but it's definitely something that you know you're compensating the farmers better than other brands. So, something to keep in mind. You'll find them sometimes around some parts of the city, well, especially a lot of the city, sometimes on the South Shore where I am, other times. It all depends. That's why I like to bring some of these coffee beans back home, because I don't see them all around my neighborhood, and it gives me something new to try out. And obviously support local businesses, so all good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish this off, and then I'll probably finish off my wander along Beaubien to familiar territory, and that might be a wrap for it, because despite the fact that it's a day off, I do have to work tomorrow, which means, you know, I can't be out forever. That's not what life is all about. So now I'm getting to my familiar territory along Beaubien, and actually I do remember something else I showed off a while back, Cafe Mucho Gusto. When I was wandering around here years ago, I did come here every now and then for a cup of coffee, like before I really went into full wandering Yuki mode, and I kind of liked it there. But to show how long it was, this was back in the day when everywhere I go I would only order drip coffee. I didn't even know what Americano was back then. If you want to know, yes, I did cover it on the channel. I've shown it off when I was doing my trip around the Montreal Ukrainian Festival back in 2022. And once again, I'm going to put a card in the top right corner for you to watch that one. It's a long one, but given the history, the heritage, and everything I wanted to cover, it was definitely worth a revisit. There we are, St. Michel Boulevard, and this is around where I'm going to be ending my wander along Beaubien Street East. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could have extended this a little further and went a little longer, but truth be told, it is still technically feels like a Sunday to me. Wait, that wasn't grammatically correct. So it does feel like a Sunday to me, and I know that I'm going to want to get back home to rest, get my supper ready, and then eventually get ready to go back to work. So there you have it. New Year's Day spent along Beaubien, 2 good coffees, some good reminiscing, and a nice easygoing vlog compared to some of the other ones I've done. So everyone, thanks for watching this latest edition of the Wandering Yuki Cheese Cafe. And once again, if you like what you see, you know what to do. Whew. Damn, the cold kind of makes me lose my breath. Click that subscribe button below and give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying my wanders around the city. And if you have any ideas on future episodes, like places I could check out, neighborhoods I can visit, leave in the comments section, and I'll try to use it in a future episode. Till then, take care, Happy New Year, Happy 2024, and happy, well, whatever you want to celebrate, because who knows when this episode's going to drop.